Hi, everybody. How's it going? Sorry, I was getting a few things set up. My name is Samantha Berry. I am the journalism advisor at Bridgeland High School in Houston, Texas. I'm going to give you a really quick just rundown of some basic design things that I hope were helpful to you, and then try to give you some tangibles that you can work with throughout this year. So we're going to try to keep this about 15 minutes, but just kind of explaining some things that we need to know in terms of creating really great design. So first and foremost, we're sitting here and we're looking at a blank spread. I'm using the InDesign program, but not everyone uses that. So I'm going to use a very general, excuse me, very general terms in terms of about design programs, because really, while they may do some different things, they pretty much all work pretty close to the same. So we're looking at a blank document here. We never, ever, ever want to design on a blank document. Okay, we need to do some setup on our document first in order to make things a little bit easier. What we're accustomed to is a column system. So a lot of times we sit down to design and we see something not like that with an 8-column design. Okay, and that's really great. It gives us a good idea of whenever we're drawing like a box of where we want to start and where we width-wise, where we want to begin and where we want to end, but it doesn't give us an idea of the height, right? So that's not as effective as we want it to be. What I want to encourage you to do is just begin working on a grid system. So I want to show you how to set one of these up in InDesign, but you can talk to your rep or whoever and about setting one up in whatever design program that you are using. So first I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna get rid of these bad boys. I probably could have just pushed Control Z, but let's make it harder on myself. That just very 2020 of me. I'm gonna go back over to layout. Excuse me, my voice has been working great all day until just now, right? Then I'm going to go over to here to create guides. Actually, cancel real quick. I have drawn a perfect square. I did 2 picas by 2 picas. I'm going to zoom in on this bad boy, and I'm going to put it right up here in the corner of my page. I'm going to make it a color just so I can see it a little bit better. Zoom back out. Click off that. Layout, create guides. In between each of my guides, I want there to be equal spacing. So this is the spacing that I want to exist between all the elements, the standard spacing on my page. For most of us, that's half a pica. So I'm going to change this to OP6. Okay. I'm going to tell it to fit my guides to my margins. Okay. Then I'm also going to say remove existing ruler guides, right? So if you watch here, I'm going to start drawing these. Oh, make sure preview is checked. And I'm going to keep going until that line right here hits the bottom of that square. So I'm at 22, 23, 24 is perfect. Columns, I'm going to draw those just like I did a second ago. And I keep on clicking. See, I'm zooming in with my eyeballs because I'm trying to see where I'm at here. Oh, that was too many. There we go. Nope, actually I think I was right, 20. There you go. So, okay, then I'm going to take this and remove it just so you can see these perfect little squares here. I'm going to right click. I'm going to go over to, where is it at? Oh, wait, there it goes. No, wait. I want to lock those guides. Wow. This is bad timing for me. Why can I not see? Oh, it's because I'm still clicked on that square. I'm so dumb. I'm so sorry. So grids and guides, I'm going to go over here to lock guides. Let's go back to grids and guides. Make sure guides and back are there. Okay. And all that's right. So now we have a really great grid. It's going to look really kind of crazy and a little bit difficult to understand. So this is one option of doing a grid, but then there's one other option that I want to show you. So I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to go to my layers because I've already got one created. And then one of the things that we do is I'm actually going to do edit, undo show layer, edit, undo move item, edit, undo create guide so you can see it. And then we actually draw on a separate layer. We actually draw all of these little boxes and lock them. My kids find that a little bit easier. But I'm going to go back here just to re-showing you that guide. Oh, maybe not, never mind. So I'm gonna just go back here. Either way, these are guides that you can use in terms of design, okay? And that's what I wanna show you is that you should never design on a blank page. Granted, these grids will not print. They're just there for guidance, right? That's why they're called guides. They're just there to help maintain great spacing on our pages. So good design is always going to start with one thing. And it actually isn't not design. It's content planning. It's sitting down at a page, having a notebook, paper, something next to you and saying, I know everything that's going to go on my page. I know what stories are going to go on my page. I've got my photos mostly decided. I know how many stories I'm telling. I know what graphic elements I'm doing, all of these things, right? Then what I like to advise my students to do is to then start drawing rooms, right? I explain to them that their spread is like a house, and now you have to organize the house the way the construction worker would. Then you go and you design each room afterwards. So we're just going to kind of spitball here and say that we are working on a varsity football spread. Okay, great. The student sitting down, I'm the student. Okay, I'm going back to high school. And I'm going to say that my dominant story is going to be about the rivalry football game. I'm going to have a secondary story of just pictures of a summer football camp. Then I'm going to have another story that's just a Q&A with the captains. And then I'm going to have one more story that's just extra pictures from other games. Okay, so I've got 4 different modules here, right? Now, depending on what my dominant is, that's going to really decide where my dominant package goes. And that's where I can kind of make that decision. But I'm just going to start working with some spacing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start drawing boxes, right? I'm going to say that my dominant package is going to be about this big, right? I'm going to make sure I'm going to go over here and adjust my boxes so that they're on the grid. I'm going to keep them on the grid. And what that means on the grid, okay, so like watch me zoom in on the bottom of this box I just drew. See how that's a little bit off? We always want everything to begin and end on a grid because all of this white space is stuff that exists between elements, right? So I'm going to fill this with a color just so I know this is one section, okay? I'm going to go over here. I'm going to skip an entire grid of space because now I'm drawing a second mod, okay? I'm going to maintain that eye line, but my second mod is going to fit in this space. So once again, I'm going to zoom in on that. I'm going to adjust it so it's on the grid correctly. It's a little tall. That looks good. Okay. Fill that with a color too. So see how we're maintaining this really good space right here, or this consistent rail of white space that's supposed to go between our elements. And then same thing here, right? So I'm going to go down here. I want to maintain this wide eye line right here, and I'm going to draw another mod, okay? Another mod spacing. Maybe. There we go. Fill that with color as well. Okay. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to draw another box right here. I might do one other little tiny mod, just like right there. Okay, adjust it so it's on that. We have to teach students the art of being precise and why it's so important. So teaching them how to zoom in and things like that to just get everything right on that line, exactly where we want it, is going to really transform your design. Okay. Now I'm going to draw another one here. I'm just duplicating this one. Whoop. Don't want to move that. Drag it over. Okay, I'm going to zoom out. So now looking at our entire spread, we have, oh, look, I already found a mistake in my own design. We need to make sure there's a rail of white space. So let's look at that. See how this spacing between these 2 mods is not consistent with everything else? That's going to throw the eyeball way off. So I'm going to zoom back in on this, give myself a rail of white space in between those 2 mods. Oh, look, I see a little error on both of these. This is why zooming in is so incredibly important. There we go. All right, so now let's look at it. I'm going to go into preview just so you can see it. Obviously, this is not the design of our spread, correct? But it does help focus students on what they should be designing. This is what we call designing in chunks, right? So they may want to start with the dominant mod. They may want to start with a different one. A lot of times if kids are really struggling, I may say, why don't you start with the smallest mod on the page? So let's zoom in over here. I'm the designer, right? So I'm going to come in that day from class. I'm going to delete that out, okay? Because I don't need that anymore. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to maybe draw a text box here for some headlines. So I'm going to say headline goes here, right? Make that a little bit, maybe change my font there, or I might even do a different font. Make that a little bit bigger, like that. Okay, have that font. And so I might do, maybe this is, like I said, a Q&A with a player. So I'm gonna do captain. Or how about this? Now I'm getting all fancy. A word from our, gonna snap this bad boy right there. Make it a little bit bigger. I'm gonna draw another one. Captain. Change the font on that bad boy too. Give us some really fun headline design here. Might change the color of that. There we go. Okay. Then I might just draw a picture here. Okay. Have a picture right there. Okay. Actually, let's pull that a little bit farther down. Let's put a picture in there. I have no idea what pictures I have on my computer right now. So let's see if we can find, great, there's a great football picture right here. And then we're gonna put in a text box. Just fill that with placeholder text. Make sure that's on my grid. Okay. So now we've already got one mod designed, just like that. And it came from having that really good planning, makes things move just a little bit quicker. But now we're maintaining that space around those. So say, okay, maybe this next one is just going to be a collection of photos from other games, or this one right here, or something like that, right? So we're just gonna be able to take that out, delete it. Let's zoom in on that space. Okay, I'm gonna want a headline there, so I'm just gonna draw a headline box so that we've got one. I'm just gonna take some picture boxes. I'm gonna draw some good picture boxes. And there we go. Keep everything consistent on those lines. So that's why, like I said, teaching students the art of zooming in and why it is so incredibly important to get everything on those lines the way that we want them is so powerful with design. It makes everything consistent. I always tell kids, if you can't see it, zoom in and you get on that line. Very good. Okay. So then I'm going to make that, maybe I'm just going to make that a color so that we see that that's supposed to be a picture box. Zoom back in on that. I'm actually just going to duplicate this down here, resize it. Go. Sometimes it's a little difficult to get around that line, but you get it after a while. There we go. Okay, so now we've got a little picture collage drawn there. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put my headline just so we remember it. Make it a different font just because I can. There we go. Fun trick with InDesign is I'm going to snap it. Then I can hold down Shift Control. I can make it the width that I want it. And then I've got room right here for a sub headline. Okay, I'm going to align these two items here. Same thing here. I can snap that. Make that a little bit bigger. There we go. All right, there you go. So then another part of keeping design very consistent is equal widths on captions. So we have a rule on our style sheet that says exactly how wide our captions should be. Ours are 4 grids wide. So what I, as a designer, would do is I need to have a caption box for all of these, right? So one of the things I'm already noticing is that's not very much room for a good caption. So I might bring this up a couple of grids, right? And then I might bring that up a couple of grids. Not that much though, because I don't have any space now. There we go. Bring that up a couple of grids. So I'm going to put 2 captions here for these photos and then 2 captions here for those photos, right? Or however you want to do that, just make sure that caption lead-ins really describe where they go. Okay. So I'm going to draw a 4 grid wide caption. Once again, it's not perfect. So I'm going to zoom in till I get it completely right the way I want it. All of this really ups your design here, but see it goes below that. I don't want it to. I want to stop right there. I'm going to fill that with placeholder text so I see that. I'm going to duplicate that bad boy so I can see it here. Make sure, once again, I'm pretty obsessive about it being there on the line. Okay, so we've got those there. So I'm just gonna copy and paste that down here. Oh, look, I see a couple of problems right here on these. I need to bring that up and that up so they're on. Oop, that was a little too much. So they're on. Well, wait, there you go. Oh no, not getting it. There we go. They're on that line. Same thing here. That's the only thing about using grid like this is that things don't snap the way that you would normally want them to. For some reason, my students really like this. They said it reminds them of graph paper. So there you go. Now we have a whole nother mod drawn. So this is what good design looks like. It looks like designing in chunks. Having a plan for every step of the way and spending time with each one just designing, right? One of the things we want to be careful of is also hierarchy. So once again, this is a pretty bold headline up here. I don't want that to be the biggest focus of my page. So I might over here in this space design a really big headline, right? So I might have big, bold. I'm going to make that a huge headline. Big, bold. Oh, I did not nail that, did I? There you go. Change that to my scripty font. Designing when you know like people are going to watch you, it's kind of crazy. Something like that, so that those aren't competing quite that much. Or you may want to flip it. You may want to actually move the headline down. Maybe I want to change the location. I want to put this more in the middle of these things, and I want to bring these elements up. So I keep that maybe a little bit more like that, so it doesn't kind of have like boom, boom headlines, right? So this is what good design looks like. Good design looks like consistency. It looks like equal spacing between elements so that everything that's pleasing to the eye. It looks like pictures, the action in pictures facing towards the gutter. Looks like hierarchy, different kinds of mods. All of those things go into really good design. So that's how we set up our pages to create good design, with grids, with columns, with maybe doing your grids like this, whatever works for you, but then having a really good check system. So I want to show you a yearbook checklist that I think is what might be helpful for you. So one of the things we're looking for with photos is that there are no faces in the gutter. The dominant photo is always exciting and it deserves to be larger than the others. All photos are in focus and clear. People in photos face the gutter, so the action faces the gutter. 7 to 9 photos, somewhere between the mods, large group, small group, trio, couple, individuals, different genders. Also that it matches the diversity breakdown of our school. Correct photo bylines. Captions, all captions answer 5 Ws and 1 H in a proper format. Every photo has a caption attached to it and in correct location. Captions for 3 grids wide, so this was from a couple of years ago. We did 3 grids. Captions contain correct font type and size. Headlines and subheadlines are succinct and relevant to body copy. Body copy, everything's spell check. Design-wise, proper use of grids, 3 degrees of separation, established eye-line folio on every spread. So when we talk about 3 degrees of separation, what we're looking at is the spacing that exists between mods, so this big wide spacing, and the spacing that exists between elements. But sometimes we add a 3rd degree of spacing in there. So let's, I meant to zoom in. So let's look at this. Maybe we want to do headshots, but instead of making them 6.6 picas apart, we want to make them 3, right? So a couple of ways to do this. Oh, not what I meant to do. Okay, is I'm just going to draw some boxes here. Okay, I'm gonna draw some boxes. I'm gonna duplicate this box. See right here, it's 6 picas, or not 6 picas, 6 points apart, but I want them 3 points apart. Okay, so I'm gonna select them all. I always like to put a color in boxes. The only thing you want to make sure you remove that color. I'm gonna use the spacing tool to make them 3 picas apart. So that just creates a little bit tighter of a space there. See how that is different? Let's look at that compared to up here with that. So I'm just gonna pull this over here so you can just see how different that spacing is. So you can see that's a lot tighter. So within packages, you may occasionally want to do a bit tighter spacing because perhaps we're going over here. The only thing is you never want to space copy boxes only 3 points apart. That's not nearly enough. Okay. So for instance, I might come over here and be drawing text boxes, but maybe my text boxes are only 2 grids wide, right? Well, no, let's make them 3 grids. Okay, so we're going to put those there, but we're going to also have those spaced out a little bit differently. So that's just a matter of opinion. A lot of people don't use 3 degrees of separation. They just do 2. They just do the wide spacing and then the tight spacing in between the elements within the package. Couple of other things, last look throughs. You just want to make sure that there are no broken links, that names are spelled correctly, and that at least there's 27 kids on every spread. So having these checklists is going to make sure everything's a lot cleaner, right? But my biggest piece of advice is whenever you're sitting down to design is design in chunks. So one of the things I'm going to give you is a module project that I give my own students. It has a grading rubric on there, and it also has some examples of really good mods, but it teaches students to design in chunks. Because when a student sits down to design in my class, one of the things that they can do is if they have a module right here, so if I look at this mod, or even let's go back to this mod right here. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 grids tall, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 grids wide. So we have a library they can open and they can look for any 5x7 mods and drop it in there based on what they need. And those are all created through this module project that they're actually currently working on in my class. And so let me see if I can actually get that document open so that you can see it. Might not be able to because I'm not connected to, I don't think I'm gonna be able to because I'm not connected to my school server at the moment. But I will share that with you, those documents. Oh, you know what? I absolutely totally can. Don't know why I'm just being a dum-dum right now because it's in our Google Drive. So just give you an idea, go in here and I can show you some things. I'm also going to give you another assignment that I give my students for if you want this for InDesign. One of the things I have them do is it is a fillable design interface. So they have to go in and label all of these things about InDesign, which is what we use. And I would encourage you to do this for whatever program you use. And then there's actually a word bank, and they have to describe the function of each. And in doing so, they put those in their binders, and they have them throughout the year to use. So this is the, is this the right one? I don't think that's the right one. Nope, that's not the right one. So this is the module project. So this is all based on InDesign. Once again, I will give you another one of these so that you can kind of see what they, and obviously this is all designed to their theme, but it's how it's graded. They have to create 5 modules. I give them a bunch of examples of modules so they can kind of see what the design looks like. And then they can go and drop them on there. And then I give them this InDesign document. So once again, you can do this for your own. You can create a page within whatever InDesign or whatever program you use, but I give them this page, and it's got all of these boxes already drawn on there. So they have to design mods within these boxes. So there's some large mods, some smaller mods. Some kids adjust the size of mods so in case they want to do a different kind of one. But yeah, that's what we do. I hope this was helpful. I know it's really fast. Good design is always going to come from good content planning, good checklists, good collaboration, and it's always going to also come from just looking at good design and trying to recreate it to understand why the designer did that. So if you have any questions or anything, please don't hesitate to let me know, and I hope your year's going great, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.